a little ticked off right now. I can't get a hold of this guy. I left numerous messages, sent an email, and I'm not getting no answers back. I guess that I'm going to go pull the plug and demand cancel the contract.
Yeah, freaking wholesalers, man. These guys, they watch a bunch of YouTube videos telling them how to get involved in real estate for no money, and then they freaking just drag people through the mud. So it makes my job difficult. All right, guys, so we're about to call a guy who's in contract with another wholesaler who the wholesaler has been ghosting him. We already went scorched earth on him. He wants to work with us, so let's see what happens. Hey, this is Chris. How you doing?
A little ticked off right now. I can't get a hold of this guy. I left numerous messages and text messages and an email, and I'm not getting no answers back. I guess that I'm going to go pull the plug and demand cancel the contract. Hopefully I can get him to rattle up if we can do this. I'm going to move forward in the direction and do what I can do to secure something else going there.
Got it. Yeah, freaking wholesalers, man. These guys, they watch a bunch of YouTube videos telling them how to get involved in real estate for no money, and then they freaking just drag people through the mud. So it makes my job difficult.
I just got that explained to that about the fact that the guy that I first dealt with did the same thing. He sent, investors to my house thinking that they were inspectors, and it's just like, he lives in my house, and I told him all this stuff. I don't have time for this contract.
Yeah.
You're going to do this? You're not going to do this. I don't have time. My family, I just moved my son up to Jacksonville. He's got his place now. And me and my wife are sitting here. We got a couch and my bed sitting on the floor, and I got my TV and a kitchen table. And that's what we're living in right now. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I'm sorry you have to deal with that, man. It's that's tough.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. So, from here I just move forward. That's what I do.
Yep, exactly. All right. Well, so a couple things that you should know. Basically, what you're going to run into if you don't get a hold of him. Did he give you escrow information?
What the deal was is that on the contract it stated that we were supposed to have a closing date within 21 days. At the end of the 21 days, that he had $100 in an escrow account for himself, for the title company. Yeah. And at the end of that 21 days, if no one is either buyer backed out or seller backed out, he gets $100 back, and we just solve the contract.
Got it.
It's a good thing he has a 45-day extension in there. But that's if I needed to move out, or if I have any issues with the house, or he has any issues with the house.
Got it.
We don't have that problem.
Okay. Who's the escrow company he's using?
I don't know any information yet because he didn't forward me that stuff yet.
Got it.
He first said, okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and move forward with this. And then all of a sudden he said, well, I need pictures of the house. I need to send a photographer. I said, no problem. But I told him I was in the process of moving stuff out, and the house was a little bit of a shambles. But I said, you can come and send him anyway. Well, I got here, and then he just played that, these are pictures to be selling the place. And I said, well, it's probably not a good time. If you give me, 2-3 days, I'll have the house empty. You guys come back and take the picture. Well, that's what Thursday was. Well, of course, Friday, he was nowhere to be found to hear what happened with the pictures. He texted me back on Saturday, said, oh, well, I'll look it over on Sunday or Monday and get back a hold of you then. We are moving forward. That was the last I heard from him. And now today I can't get a hold of it. Well, we'll probably have to wait the full 21 days.
Yep.
If he doesn't get a hold of me tomorrow.
Hopefully he hasn't put what's called a memorandum on the property. I doubt it. Most of these wholesalers don't even know what a memorandum is, but every once in a while you get somebody who watched a few too many videos and, now they think they're Than Merrill on Flip This House.
He was supposed to be privately buying this for himself. He wasn't supposed to be going through an investor or anybody else. He was going to be paying it out of his company himself. So that must have been a bunch of bullshit too, which I kind of took it at.
Yeah, basically that's the problem. I deal with these guys all the freaking time, and I'll tell you a funny story. One time I had a property that we had under contract. And every once in a while, you know, like, I mean, you get it, right? It's like if I get in contract with a bunch of properties and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, the money that I need to tie up this property, I have a much better deal over here. So I'll just sell that to one of my buddies who flips houses as well and, you know, go that route, right? And like, it's clean and easy, you know, we make it work.
Yeah, and I don't care if he does that. I don't care who puts the money down on the table and buys the place.
Exactly.
Out in the process, you know, I don't have the luxury of the truck.
Yeah.
Taking time off of work. This is 2 weeks that my truck has been sitting down at the curb down here, not making any revenue. I'm not making a paycheck, and I'm just going in the hole now.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy about it. I have a truck payment. I have a loan payment. I have insurance. I have all the BS to pay. You know, I'm still paying my daughter out of my pocket, and I'm not even working myself, you know?
What are you under contract with this guy for?
This is the purchase agreement.
Got it. But I mean, how much?
Oh, it's for the 285.
Got it. Okay. All right. That's probably why you haven't heard from him. Just looking at the deal, I mean, I took the notes that Brad gave me. It sounds like, for the most part, just pretty much the whole property needs to be updated.
I would say the cabinets are fine, but I had the plans, and I have a builder buddy, and he was going to work it for me. I was going to do some changes to the kitchen. It's all set up. It's not structural in there. It's all done with steel studs. How the drop steel or how the flat steel is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All he's got to do is go gut it out, and he can put it back in with the cathedral and open that whole kitchen back up, which is what the kitchen really needs. Something major, you know.
Got it. Okay.
I had a small budget before Christmas. Originally, I was going to put the pool in or stuff like that, and I said, no, let's just stick with a small budget and sell the place. Now, I had $25,000 and a builder that was going to do it for it.
After you put that $25,000 in, what do you think it would sell for?
I would put it in no less than $400,000 on the market for a 4-bedroom corner lot in this neighborhood. I wouldn't put it in for no less than $400,000.
Got it. Okay. Here's what I'm looking at, right? Just to be completely transparent, you know, there's really 2 comps that I'm pulling that I'm really kind of anchoring to. The first one is right around the corner from you. So it's on Southwest 8th Place, if you're familiar with that street. So if you go, you know, Southwest 4th Terrace. So if you go left off of 10th Court and you go left on Southwest 4th Terrace, and you take that to Nelson Road South, and then you go up the first street, it's like right over there, right there. So that one, it's a 4-2. It's 1829 square feet, so it's a little larger than yours. And that one is fully flipped. So brand new kitchen, brand new bathrooms, like top to bottom. And that one sold on August 8th for $409. I don't see pictures of your property, but if I'm just assuming that everything pretty much needs to be done, generally speaking, what we typically are budgeting for our repair costs is we're going to take the square footage. Generally, it's costing us about $45 to $50 a square foot to do a full renovation top to bottom on the inside. That doesn't include windows, roofing, foundation work, you know, major electrical, major plumbing.
None of that's needed here. Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Okay, so if we go off of $45 a square foot, that puts us around $65,000 in order to bring it up to what the property on 8th Place went for.
The only problem is with that is the neighborhood.
I'm looking at it on the map, and there's only like 3 streets.
But within 3 streets, you should see what kind of different it costs. This reason why I'm going to Michigan to buy my property, because when you look at it, it's a totally different thing. But yeah, I understand what you're just looking at numbers. And I understand that. I totally do. I'm not, like I said, you know, well, shoot me an offer then. Show me what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to offend you, you know, like I get it.
you're not gonna piss me off or anything like that. I could do that.
Okay. No, I appreciate it.
All I can say is yes or no about that.
Yeah, I just try to be very transparent and upfront with how I come to my numbers and everything. You know what I mean? So, because I hate when people pull the wool over my eyes and try to, like lambaste me for it. So I think the reason you're not getting calls back from him is because he's trying to bring it out to guys like me, and we wouldn't even buy it at what he's got it under contract with. He's probably trying to make 15 grand and sell it to guys like myself for 300. Honestly, I mean, I'd be a lot closer to 200 for me to even, look at this thing. So
Yeah, there's no way I could.
yeah, and I get that. I totally get that.
It's that with where the neighborhood is and stuff, and what's just going on in here and stuff, and where I'm at, there's no way. And I can understand from your point of view. Like you said, you would have to actually be in the neighborhood to understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, but to see where we're at, that's the reason why it is what it is. But if you even look on Zillow, which is not an accurate site, it is what it is. They say 349 is what they're saying, and like I said, it needs 25,000 each.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you're looking at 350 at the most. And then you're looking at another 25, so maybe 250 would be the lowest that I could even think about going, and I can't do that.
Yeah. Got it.
I've got too much to lose there for that low of a price.
Yeah, no, I totally understand it, and I get it. Do you have a mortgage on the place?
Yeah, I got a small mortgage. I don't have much. It's only like 91,000.
What's your monthly payment on that?
Right now with the escrow and stuff, it's right around 11 something, 1100. Something like that.
Got it. Okay.
3-year mortgage. I was gonna put it to a 15 when we refinance, but I got it.
Yeah, I mean, even if I got so Zillow is showing it being worth 343. Let's just say Zillow's wrong, and let's say it's 350, right? 350, and you're saying 25,000. I'm saying closer to 65,000 for renovation, but let's just say it's $30,000 for renovation, right? To get to the number that he's at 285,000, if it takes me 30K to renovate it, that brings me to 315. But that also doesn't take into consideration when I sell it, I'm going to use an agent and I'm going to have realtor commissions and closing costs, which is probably going to be all in. If I sold it for 350, that's about 10%. So that brings me down to 315, and I'm not making any money on that scenario. You know what I mean?
And I understand. I'm not mad at nobody. If you can't see the vision and you can't make the money work, then you don't need to be there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not an emotional decision for me. It's yeah.
Right, and like I said, it's one of those things. If you're in California, it is what it is. You see the number. Florida is a little bit of a different market right now, and it's still a crazy market over here.
Yeah.
And we're low on properties right now. There's no properties that are built.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And the builders have slowed down because of material and what's going on in the market and stuff like that. The builders are a little freaked out right now. So, it's slowing down because we're running out of inventory because nobody wants to get caught right now. So now everybody's trying to buy up what is left here.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at with the market. That's the reason why the market is high as it is, because of that right there. But, I understand if you can't make it, you don't need it, then don't do it,
Yeah. I'm just curious, though, why don't you just list it on the open market with an agent?
Well, because we fell into this thing, and they were enticing me with the quick sale, and we were ready to go. I'm into the quick sale for the bottom line is I'm running out of areas to park my truck.
Got it.
Okay, Cape Coral doesn't have area for me to park my truck. The one area that we had left down here right by my house, the rest of the truck drivers I've been using noticed that we were parking there, and now everybody's parking there. It went from 4 or 5 trucks parking down there to 15 to 20 trucks parking down there. And the city found out because people started bitching, and next thing you know, they passed an ordinance. They don't want us parking down there no more. Now I can't park. I physically can't afford or physically see paying $200 to $250 a month for storage for my truck when I'm home for 1 week out of the month.
Yeah.
I'm gone 3 weeks out of the week. And I have to buy a whole month worth of storage.
Oh, wow.
And I just can't do it.
Yeah.
They don't want me to bring my truck into my yard or to my, my driveway to clean it out. As soon as I bring it in, people put, they think they're in a gated community down here. They really do.
Yeah.
That's part of the whole issue down here is everybody. Coral is a beautiful town. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful town. It really, really is.
Let's say you get out of this agreement with this other wholesaler, right? And like, are you under like a time crunch, or do you have time and flexibility to sell the house?
That's the whole thing. If I would have took the time to do it myself, I would have spent $25,000, and I would have spruced the house up first. I have an opportunity to buy a tight chunk of property, and we fell into a deal with that, and I'm trying to get that.
Got it. That's up in Michigan?
Yeah, it's back up in Michigan, up in central Michigan.
Oh, okay, nice. I have a really good friend of mine who's an investor up there. He's up in like the Traverse City area.
Yeah, I'm more over to the east of that. If you look right straight across from the thumb, right in the middle of the state, Mount Pleasant, Old Lake area.
Oh, okay.
That's where I'm going.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
I'm in a little town called Harrison. That's where I grew up at.
Oh, okay. Nice. So how soon do you want to like make the jump up to Michigan? When are you trying to make that happen?
This was the plan. We were supposed to have, I actually wanted to close and moved up to the 16th last Friday. I'm out basically of this house. I'm already, everything's in storage,
What would you say is the lowest that you could comfortably do and feel good about it?
I would have to be right around 260. I really want it. That's pushing by a bit. And just because you're a nice guy and we're talking real numbers here, that's the best I could do. I really
got it. Okay.
I couldn't do no lower than that. Then I'm just biting myself. I might as well just send the money and put the thing on the market for $400 like I planned on, and then take it whatever I got out of that.
Yeah, got it. Well, I want to help you out. I mean, I think from a cash standpoint, for me to come in at 260, it would be tight. However, I think there could be a way where we could possibly make something work if you'd be open to it. I'll run it by you, and if it sounds appealing, great. If you're like, no, go pound sand, I'm cool with that. That's fine too. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, but I'm open for.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking, right? Because you want to be done with it and move on. But obviously, you got a certain amount that you really need to get for it so you can feel comfortable moving on. And you're not going to get the top dollar because it's not renovated. And if you try to go through renovating it, then you're going to have to stay longer than you really want to stay. So what if we could do a situation where we basically partner up on the deal, right? And you own the property, right? So the property stays in your name for now. We come in with our teams, we put the money out to shell out for the renovation, we fix it up, right? Because you guys are going to move on anyway. We fix it up, and then we list it at its tip-top value, and then we split the proceeds. I get some money, you get the number that you're looking to get to, and then, if we can sell it over what we put the renovations in and the closing costs and commissions, then we just get the difference.
That's fun. I definitely could be.
You don't have to tell me yes today, because you got to wait till the 23rd anyway. So
the only problem is the money, right? In my pocket. And that's the only issue is because I've got to go 1,200 miles. I've got to rent a house. Because even if I go buy the property right now, it's not going to be suited for me to live at. Yeah, but so it is that right the second. So I plan on going up and renting a house and temporarily live like that for now until the springtime more or less anyway. So it would be something I'd have to think about. It's not a no.
Yeah, and I figured that way you don't have to deal with, getting dicked around left and right with these wholesalers that are just wasting your time. We get you that 260 that you're looking for. That way you're, it's like that's set in stone, and then, we just have to cover our renovation costs, the closing costs, and then anything on top of that, and that way we're incentivized to try to make sure it sells for the right value. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you can just make the jump and get headed up to Michigan. We just basically get you a lockbox put on, get the keys put in, and then that way our contractors can get out there because we do vacant dwellers insurance. So we can't do renovations with it, with somebody living in it. So it's got to be vacant anyway. So in this type of situation, it doesn't work all the time, but in these types of situations where somebody's like planning to make the jump anyway, sometimes this type of a deal works out. And it shouldn't take us, I would say all in, probably somewhere around 60 days or so to kind of get started on the reno, get it finished. We'd pre-market it before the renovation's even finished. That way, buyers that are starting to look at it, they can see it. And they'll, a lot of times what'll happen is when we pre-market it, we'll start getting some buyers that'll look and they're like, oh, well, I see that you haven't painted the bedrooms yet. Can we pick our paint color? And we're like, yeah, sure, you could do that. And then it kind of sells them more. So
that's kind of the reason why I didn't move forward with all the extra little paint and stuff like that is because 90% of the time when you move it, you can't color anything.
Exactly.
That's what we did.
So there's two options, right? Because again, I don't think I would be your buyer at 260, but these are just, food for thought, things that, I'm just planting seeds for later, right? So either this option where we partner up on the deal, and then it just takes a little bit longer for you to get the money, or the other option is I have a pretty big network of investors that I work with. And so a lot of times, we do this from time to time. They do it for me, I do it for them. When there's a deal that I come across that I'm like, it doesn't really fit what I'm looking for, but I have other investors. Everybody's got a different buy box, right? Like they have different criteria, different margins they need to make. And so oftentimes what I'll do is I'll enter into an option agreement with a seller where it's like, hey, I'm not your buyer, but this agreement gives me the option to at least bring it out to my network and see if there's somebody that'll come to the table at the number you're trying to get. And if they do, usually what they'll do is they'll just throw me like a small finder's fee. It's nothing crazy, but they'll just hook me up. And then vice versa, whenever they have deals, they'll bring them to me sometimes if it fits my buy box. That's another alternative. The only difference with that is, there's nothing set in stone, and I'm just, we're just kind of taking a flyer on it and seeing if we can get somebody to come in and step in at that number. You know what I mean?
The only way I could possibly do something like that, and to be honest with you, I would have to have a little bit of money down to do that move.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That would be my only other option that I could feel really good about that, because right now it's putting me in a bind with it.
Yeah, we can't do anything till the 23rd, just because if we do end up bringing somebody in, this other guy you're working with, if he puts a memorandum or something like that on it, then it's gonna blow the whole deal up anyway. So we want to make sure that is clean, so there's no legal issues there. But do this. Take the rest of the week. Again, we can't do anything till the 23rd. And you don't know the escrow company, so that kind of puts you in a tough spot. Normally, what I would tell people is if they know the escrow company, then the day that you're supposed to close, you submit a notice to perform, and then that gives them that basically it's a legal document in writing through escrow that basically tells them they have to perform in 2 days or the agreement gets nullified. So it's kind of a tough spot. I would keep trying to reach out to this guy and see what the deal is. So here, do this. They're probably closed right now, but here's what you want to do, right? So I'll give you the steps to make sure that you're protected with this other guy. So the first thing you want to do tomorrow morning, you can try to call them tonight and maybe leave a message. Sometimes they're there late, but it's already 6:47 over there. But I would call them. Yeah, I would call them up. I would tell them, like, you know, who you are, the address, and what's going on, and then ask them for confirmation that escrow was ever opened in the first place, and if the earnest money deposit was actually submitted. Okay? If there was no earnest money deposited, then the contract is not a real contract. Because there's no consideration, it's not legally binding because they never actually put the money into escrow, so they don't have what's referred to legally as consideration, okay?
I did that.
So if they didn't put the $100 down, then just tell them, like, and let's say they opened escrow, but they didn't put the $100 down, say, hey, I would like to cancel this escrow because I anticipate him not performing. He has not reached out to me. He has not answered my calls, blah, blah, blah. And I would like, you know, and if they give you any pushback on that, then tell them you want them to submit an anticipatory notice of non-performance, right? So you're anticipating him not performing, and that you want them to send documentation to him to basically enforce him performing or canceling.
Okay.
If you have any questions, you can reach out to myself or Brad between now and Friday. But what I'll do is I'll put a note on my calendar to circle back with you. And then in the meantime, just think about it a little bit, right? Like, so just to review the two options that I think would work on our side is either A, we partner with you, right? You can move on. We'll put a lockbox on the house. We'll do the renovation, and then you get the 260. We'll put in all the work into it and everything. And then whatever's left over, you know, we take that off the top, you know, minus the realtor commissions, closing costs, and repairs. So that's one option. And there might be a way, depending, I mean, if you need a little bit of cash up front, like, think about that and what you would need. Normally we don't do that, but if it's not too crazy, we might be able to work something out. The other option, though, there's a little less security in it, but it could be potentially a faster transaction if we can find somebody that's willing to come to that 260 number, and then they'll close at the 260 cash, move you on, and then you'll be good to go. So that's kind of the two options. So just think about those over the next few days. I don't need an answer today on what you like better or anything like that, but just think about it, talk to escrow, and then we can circle back.
Oh, go ahead, buddy.
Awesome.
All right, buddy, we'll talk to you then.
All right, God bless. See ya. All right, guys. So that's another one. We're on a freaking roll today. But here's the deal, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's cash, cash, cash. Terms are last, right? You know, we want to go in and we want to negotiate on the cash, because if I'm coming with terms, or if I'm coming with a Novation agreement, if I would have started at that 290 number that he was looking for, 285, what's he's under contract with this other wholesaler, that's what he wanted, right? But he's like, I can't do anything less than 260, right? You know, I can negotiate him down a little bit. And the only reason I didn't like dig in more and try to negotiate more is because it's like, oh, it's the first call, and I've got a bunch of other calls on the calendar that I have to get to as well. But we already got a $25,000 reduction. And so now, from a Novation agreement standpoint, I mean, there's a world in which we can make some good money on this. I mean, if we can get it up to 400, you know, even if we had to put 50K into this, you know, that would still leave us with $47,000 of profit, but that's factoring in cost of money, right? So we start taking the cost of money out, and now we're looking at $62,000, right? So all of a sudden, this changes the game, and now we're in a good position to make a really good margin. That's a 15% margin if we can get it up to that 400K number. And on top of that, you know, we built a lot of trust because we basically showed him all the different things. I'm not your buyer. He's like, hey, I might need some cash down. Like, okay, that might not be a problem. I might be okay with that as long as it's not something crazy, right? You know, and I tell him that, and I'm upfront, and, you know, he sees the transparency. He's going to be a lot more willing to deal with us than these wholesalers that are basically lying to him. Oh yeah, I'm your buyer. And then they ghost him, and they're locking them up at $285, knowing that they can't perform at $285 with a $100 EMD. Like, hey, I get it. I put a $100 EMD down on deals all the time. When it's me versus you, I'm going to clobber you with rapport, transparency, and I'm going to really set the stage for a clean, easy transaction for him. And we position two options for him, right? Like, the one is more certain, right? He's going to get a deal done at that 260 because we're going to renovate it. We're going to get it to the top of the market. So even if they negotiate down, we've got a buffer. The other option, you know, yeah, it might be a quicker, cleaner cash transaction, but there's no certainty in it. So I'll take it out. I'll position it out to my network of buyers, and, you know, they might come in at 260, but chances are they're going to come in right around where I was going to be at, which is right around like 215, 225. We position ourselves really well, and I think this will turn out to be a deal by the end of the week here. We will keep you guys in the loop on that one. That's another Florida Facebook lead that we could be locking up. So if you like this and you like seeing calls like these and hearing calls like these and hearing these interactions, definitely do not forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe and that notification bell. We're going to be putting out a ton of content like this. I'm going to be doing all types of seller calls, and we want to have a playlist built out for all the different types of scenarios that we run into so that you guys can gain value from what it is we're doing in our business and apply it in your own business. So appreciate you guys, and thanks for following along with Real Estate Investing Made Easy.